Hi everybody, my name is Kristen and today I'm going to be talking to you about an injustice that is taking place within the armed forces concerning rape victims and reporting rape. Basically, a silent wall has been put up in regards to the Uniform Code of Military Justice in their investigation, prosecution, and conviction of sexual assault cases. It's become pretty clear that the justice system they have going is not only inadequate, but it's technically a partial justice system that's very biased, and it's run by untrained and uneducated commanders who are unable to perform and prosecute these criminal cases. Sexual assault has literally been camouflaged and fragmented through the chain of command, and it's handled improperly, resulting in oppression of the victims and negligence of the system. Now, a lot of rape goes on within the armed forces, and this majority of it occurs with women, but there are cases with men, and they have tried means for prevention, but that has essentially failed. So today I'm going to be discussing 3 things with you, including the chain of command, reporting, and prevention, or so-called prevention. So in cases where sexual assault occurs, a victim actually reports the crime through their chain of command. They have to go to their commander. And this causes a lot of bias and conflict towards the investigation. The commander is essentially responsible for the initial investigation and what follows. So 33% of service women don't report their rape because the person to report it to was a friend of the rapist. So that says something right there. And actually, 25% of service women and men don't report their rape because the person to report their rape to was the rapist. This means that the commander was the rapist. So a lot of sexual assault happens by the commander or the commander's friends themselves. And it's hard to report these things. And not only is this a serious problem, but how the cases are handled is this issue. It basically shows the incapability the military personnel have when dealing with these types of issues. For a person to undergo rape and live in fear of reporting, it's a crime in itself. The chain of command is biased in a way of reporting, and it doesn't allow rape victims the resources they need. So I want to move into reporting itself. Now, 200,000 women and men have been sexually assaulted in the United States military, and an estimated 80% go unreported because of the chain of command I was just referring to. Women and men face a long line of repercussions with reporting. Now, these repercussions are things such as reduction in rank, discharge, false accusation charges, adultery charges. Typically, the person who was assaulted is punished versus the person who did the assaulting. Rape cases are often treated as petty offenses, and they're not acknowledged as criminal acts. So reporting is often undermined and scrutinized by the chain of command they're reporting to. 19,000 cases were reported in 2014 and only 359 were convicted. So if you look at those odds right there, people typically don't go around reporting rape because it seems as if the repercussions of reporting your rape are more than what will happen. The harrowing fact that many of these cases are unobserved allows for rape to continue. But they did try to implement a model for prevention, so I want to talk a little bit about that. Prevention within the military was formed, and although there was lack of justice on previous cases, they act as if they're more avid to prevent sexual assault. Justice itself is the best means for prevention. I don't understand how you prevent somebody from raping another person. It seems a little iffy to me. Majority of these people who come in as sexual assaulters have previously committed a sexual assault case before entering the armed forces. So prevention is what their means are, but it's not really working. There are services in the armed forces now, such as SAPRO, which stands for Sexual Assault Prevention and Response Organization, and SARC, the Sexual Assault Response Coordinator, and they've been made available. There's SARC representatives that can provide assistance if a sexual assault does occur, and they have posters up around the bases that say, "Wait until she's sober." I don't know how that's going to prevent rape, but this is a real thing. They show videos about how to use the buddy system so you're never walking alone. It seems a little odd to me that you need to fear for a sexual assaulter to come by. You need to use a buddy system while you're in the armed forces. But that's their means of prevention, and despite the 8% increase in overall reports of sexual assault, the number of restricted reports, these are ones where the survivor doesn't have to pursue justice, had a 13% increase. So these sexual reports are still increasing regardless of the prevention. It's just demonstrating the lack of effort on their part and the lack of justice that's actually occurring in the military today. It's just insanity. It's crazy. So I want to continue on and just say, the United States military justice system presents a reoccurring disposition when dealt sexual assault cases. The military justice system is incapable of handling criminal cases. There is no justice served. We're literally handing the people inside the right to try and convict their friends, people they're around every day. It's completely biased, and the justice for victims shouldn't be relying on the chain of command. Prevention cannot fix the military justice system. For justice to be served, there needs to be a new model of a judicial system outside of the chain of command. And it needs to be readily available to these people in order to investigate and prosecute and then convict accurately and appropriately. Victims still choose not to report these violent acts, and they still suffer the traumatic aftershock of these crimes. There is no justice. It's really time for a change. We need justice.